Welcome back to the podcast. I'm David, and with me today, ready to revolutionize how we approach learning, is our insightful co-host, Sarah. Today, we're exploring the transformative power of active learning. Sarah, many people equate learning with simply reading or listening. What's the fundamental difference between passive learning and active learning?
That's a crucial distinction, David. Passive learning is like being a sponge. You absorb information, but you don't necessarily interact with it. This includes listening to lectures without taking notes, passively rereading textbooks, or watching videos without engagement. Active learning, on the other hand, means you're directly involved in the learning process. You're doing something with the information, analyzing it, synthesizing it, applying it, or explaining it. It demands more effort, but leads to deeper understanding and better retention.
So it's about engagement over mere exposure. Why is active learning so much more effective for long-term knowledge retention?
Our brains are wired for connection and application. When you actively engage with material, you create more neural pathways. You're forcing your brain to process, organize, and retrieve information, which strengthens the memory trace far more than simply recognizing it. It moves information from short-term memory to long-term memory more effectively.
It sounds like it makes the brain work harder in a good way. What are some common misconceptions about active learning?
Many believe it means group work or that it takes significantly more time. While it can involve collaboration, it's primarily about individual cognitive engagement. And while the initial investment might seem higher, the time saved in relearning or struggling with concepts later makes it highly efficient. Active learning isn't just for academics, it's a skill applicable to any area of life where you want to acquire knowledge.
So it's a universal skill. Let's delve into some core active learning strategies. Where should listeners start?
Active recall or retrieval practice is foundational. Instead of rereading, quiz yourself. After reading a paragraph, close the book and try to explain what you just read in your own words. Use flashcards for key terms, but quiz yourself on the definition, don't just passively read it. This act of retrieving information from memory is incredibly powerful for strengthening that memory.
Retrieval practice sounds effective. What's another key strategy?
Elaboration. This means connecting new information to what you already know. Ask how and why. How does this concept relate to something I learned last week? Why does this work this way? Explain it to yourself or to an imaginary person. The more connections you make, the more robust your understanding becomes.
Connecting new ideas to old. What about demonstrating understanding through teaching?
The Feynman technique is a prime example. If you want to understand something, try to explain it simply. Pretend you're teaching the concept to a child. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. This highlights gaps in your knowledge. You can do this with a friend, a pet, or even just by talking out loud to yourself.
Teaching as a test of understanding. What about breaking down complex topics?
Interleaving involves mixing up different subjects or types of problems during a study session rather than studying one topic exhaustively. For example, instead of doing all math problems, then all science, interleave them. This forces your brain to retrieve different information, improving your ability to discriminate between concepts and apply the right solution.
Interleaving to build mental flexibility. What about the role of questioning?
Self-questioning is a powerful active learning tool. Before, during, and after you engage with material, ask yourself questions. What do I already know about this? What am I trying to learn? How does this apply to the real world? What are the key takeaways? This metacognitive approach keeps your mind engaged and focused on understanding, not just consumption.
Self-questioning from metacognition. Let's get practical now. How can listeners incorporate active learning into their daily study?
Start with effective note-taking. Don't just copy. Paraphrase, summarize, draw diagrams, and connect ideas. Use methods like the Cornell note-taking system, which includes a section for questions and summaries, encouraging active recall. Your notes should be a product of your thinking, not just a transcription.
Notes as a thinking tool. What about incorporating practice problems?
Solving practice problems or case studies is a direct form of active learning. Whether it's math problems, language exercises, or analyzing business scenarios, the act of applying knowledge helps solidify it. Don't just check the answer, understand why the answer is correct. If you get stuck, identify exactly where your understanding broke down.
Applying knowledge is where the real learning happens. How can discussion and collaboration fit into active learning?
Participating in discussions and study groups provides immediate feedback and forces you to articulate your understanding. Explaining concepts to others, debating ideas, and asking clarifying questions are all highly active forms of learning. Just make sure the group stays focused on active engagement rather than passive review.
Discussion for clarification and deeper understanding. What about creating something with the learned material?
Creating projects, presentations, or even just summaries forces you to synthesize and organize information. If you're learning about history, create a timeline. If you're learning coding, build a small program. The act of creation solidifies your understanding in a practical way. This moves you from being a consumer of information to a producer of knowledge.
Creation as the ultimate test. What are common challenges when trying to adopt active learning, and how can we overcome them?
Initial resistance is common because it feels harder. It takes more effort than passive learning. Start small. Incorporate just one active strategy into your routine, like 5 minutes of self-quizzing after each study session. Gradually increase the active components. Another challenge is time perception. While it feels slower initially, it's more efficient in the long run.
Starting small to overcome resistance. How do we ensure active learning becomes a consistent habit?
Integrate it into your study routine. Schedule specific blocks for active learning activities, just like you would for lectures. Use habit stacking. After I finish X, I will do Y active learning task. Track your progress to see the benefits and stay motivated. The more you practice, the more natural and automatic active learning will become.
Making it a habit. What about finding motivation when active learning feels challenging?
Focus on the benefits. Remind yourself that a deeper understanding saves time in the long run. Celebrate small victories. Every concept you truly grasp, every problem you solve, connect learning to your larger goals and passions. The satisfaction of truly understanding something is a powerful motivator in itself.
Connecting to goals and celebrating progress. Any final advice for our listeners ready to embrace active learning?
Be patient and persistent. Active learning is a skill that improves with practice. Don't be afraid to experiment with different techniques to find what resonates most with your learning style. The goal is to move from being a passive recipient of information to an active builder of knowledge. Your brain is a powerful tool. Learn how to use it effectively.
Sarah, this has been an incredibly insightful dive into active learning. Thank you for empowering our listeners to become more effective learners. To our listeners, remember, true understanding comes from engagement. Start applying these active learning strategies today and unlock your full learning potential. That's all for this episode. I'm David, and that was Sarah.
Happy learning, everyone. See you next time.